Hey everyone, it is the Scholar, Rob here.
And the fool Nate back at you with some more bullshit.
Welcome back to Bitch I Ain't Scared.
Bitch, I ain't scared. Happy
Nate,
September.
how are you?
I'm good. We are past this fucking heat wave. It was gruesome. It really was.
LA has been scorching.
And next month the electric bill is just gonna be really depressing.
I've actually been toughing through the heat without using AC. I mean, I've turned it on sometimes at night, but I won't leave it on. And during the day, I just suffer. Like, there's just no way I'm just going to let that bill creep up on me.
We couldn't do it. I mean, all summer we've been good, but yeah, we had to cave a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything's cool. I still haven't gone to the It experience. Just haven't made it over there yet.
I want to say that it ends this weekend.
It does.
Yes. September 11th, I think, will be the last day.
Right after, that. So this weekend, it'll be my last opportunity. It's been too hot anyway to go and wait in line, so it's all for the best.
You know what's funny? I thought about this because you had mentioned about going earlier this week, and the night that we could have gone, it started to rain a little bit.
Oh, that probably would have been
That
really
would have been
pleasant.
hilarious.
I would have stood in the rain.
Yeah, but no, you still have some time.
Yeah.
I think you'll be. The line actually goes through pretty easy. It just really depends on the part of the day that you go. So, in and out 15 minutes, really.
Cool.
All right. So, before we get into our topics today, just a few straggling news from last week. We did have a contest or trivia, questionnaire that we gave in our Scream episode, and we did have some people who responded, and we did pick a winner. And it's his name is Charlie from Instagram. He goes by Lestat Vampire, but he spells it a little bit differently. Anyways, he knows who he is, and we already sent him the news that he won. So congrats to him. He got all 4 questions right. And we should go through the answers, actually. So here, let me pull up the questions, and then...
Oh, do I have to answer?
Did you know any of these, the answers to any of these? Oh, you did?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the first one, no, I had no idea what his name was until you told me. I remember that there was a story.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what state it took place in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, when I was looking up questions to ask, I did learn a couple of stuff. The first one I didn't know about. So, okay. So, the first question was that Kevin Williamson got inspired with Ghostface and just this whole story based on a serial killer that was in Florida. He was known as the Gainesville Ripper, and his real name was Danny Harold Rowling.
Quite a name.
Yes. Apparently, he killed a bunch of girls at a university, and it just kind of took off from there. So that was number 1. Number 2 was the name of the specific play that Sydney was cast in at her college. You are going to have to pronounce this name for me.
Agamemnon.
All right. And it's part of a trilogy. I think it's called Astoria or something, if I remember correctly. Asteria, yeah. So this was, I think, the first or second of the trilogy.
It was probably the second one.
Yeah.
Just because it was in Scream 2. We'll say that.
And then number 3, Carrie Fisher
had
a cameo in Scream 3. We wanted to know her character's name in the movie, and it was Bianca Burnett.
Bianca.
And so I noticed that Parker Posey's character had like the same initials and Bianca does. I was just like, I wonder if that's a thing, because even Maureen Prescott had Rita Reynolds, and I was just like, what's with the same initial thing? Was that a thing for Hollywood to have, like
Judy Jurgenstern?
Yeah. But yeah, that was just something that I noticed. And then number 4, the stab film clips that you saw throughout the series, they specifically announced a director of those stab films. Who was that director? It was actually Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He was up for actually directing Scream in general, but I don't know if it was a scheduling conflict or they just didn't like his ideas, but they ended up bringing Wes Craven in instead, and then they just had Rodriguez film or direct the stab stuff. So congratulations, Charlie. Once we hear back from him, he'll be picking a movie for us to watch and review, as well as a topic. And we hope to do this again in the future. Maybe get prizes or something. Hopefully in the future, we'll see.
Did you just zoom in on my empty wallet?
But yeah, no, we had a lot of fun, and we hope to do something like that a little later.
Yes.
And one other thing in regards to Scream, we didn't have time to talk about the Scream series, which again is not part of Wes Craven's repertoire, but at the same time it is based on characters that him and Kevin Williamson worked on together. And so I'm actually a fan of the series. I mean, it's not as good as the movies, of course. I think for MTV it does it justice, and it could be worse. So I'm actually cool with it. I've watched both seasons.
I like the first season better.
You do? For some reason, the second season I think had a lot more fun, and like the way the kills were and things like that, I think were a lot better for me in the second.
Really?
I don't, but I like the I like the killer in the first one. But I guessed that one to me was a little too predictable, and for me, I didn't guess the second killer.
I think I guessed him for some reason.
Really?
Like, especially towards the end, I was like,
there's nobody else left
around.
I know. We'll see. There
he was
you go.
never around, yeah. But
Never.
yeah, that first one, I mean, when they brought out that farm machinery,
Ooh.
I was like, okay, yeah, nothing has really topped that. But anyway, what's the news that you got for us?
All right, so just some news about season 3. There is going to be a season 3, but they're not doing it in the typical season fashion. This is going to be a binge miniseries. It's basically a 3-night event. Or wait, let me see. Let me make sure. I think they said either a 3-night event or a 6-night. Okay. So it's a 3-night event, 6 episodes. So it'll be like 2 hours for 3 nights.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to be super short. It is slated to return in March of next year.
Okay.
And Queen Latifah actually took executive producer status over this. She's revamping the whole thing. I believe that this takes place either in Atlanta or NOLA, and it will feature a predominant black cast. Leading the helm is Tyga and CJ Wallace. These are the 2 leads that they have for this. So just a small synopsis. It centers on a man, Dion Elliott, a local star running back with a tragic past that comes back to haunt him just as he's trying very hard to plan for his future. And the new threat impacts him and his family and group of friends.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all about Queen Latifah, although she did produce this really bad possession film. We won't get into that. But, you know, I still love her, and I like the new concept. I don't know how I'm feeling about Tyga. I've never seen him in anything as far as acting, so hey, who knows? But all right, cool.
I don't believe that this will have anything to do with any of the previous seasons. I think it's just a season on their own. And again, with this whole binge thing going on, they're just going to do 3-night or, a 3-night thing and then just end it.
Cool.
So, yeah. All right. So, our discussion, as we do every month, we're going to talk about some Netflix and then go through some nominations for best and worst horror movies by our picks and opinion. Should we start with Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Netflix. There wasn't much going on for September. apparently the entire series of Jaws is going to be on Netflix now, 1 through 4 or 5 or however many
You can
they
watch
made.
Jaws' Revenge.
Yeah, so there's that, amongst some other, favorites coming back and forth. The only new one that I actually found interesting was Gerald's Game. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay. So Gerald's Game is based on a Stephen King novel. I don't think there are any supernatural elements to it, but it does involve a little bit of insanity, hallucination. So obviously we're going to see disturbing images, I'm assuming. I've never read the book, but let's see. So it stars Carlo Gugino. Is that her name?
Oh,
Yeah.
Carla Gugino.
Gugino, yes.
I was like, who's Carlo? I've never heard of an actor named Carlo. Sorry.
Carla.
Yes.
Yes, I like her. She's a cool actress. Excuse me. Henry Thomas and Bruce Greenwood. And it has
Bruce Greenwood.
yeah, you know him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Carell Strucken. He plays Lurch from the Addams Family movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So so he's in it, and basically it's about a woman who is like spicing up their marriage by using a little bit of like bondage, like tying up or whatever. So they go to this remote lake house. Basically, something happens to the husband, and the wife is handcuffed to the bed. No one knows that she's out there, nor does she have any means to call for help. So she's literally just laying on a bed, handcuffed, with nothing to do but her own thoughts. And after days go by, hunger and starvation, kicks in, and her insanity goes in. She starts seeing things, hearing voices, and obviously it's going to go to a level that may mean doom for her.
So this is a Netflix original?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a Netflix original, but it will be premiering on Netflix.
Oh,
I think it
I
might.
see.
I think it is a Netflix original.
Okay.
So that is going to be in September. So keep a lookout for that. But other than that, I thought that we could just sort of mention some of the anticipated horror movies coming out this month. This is actually when horror movies start creeping out. I mean, yeah, October is the official sort of Halloween scary movie sort of deal, but September is known to have a lot of fright stuff come out, just kind of leading into it. And first I'll say that Jackals came out. This is a movie that had a little help from, I think, the writer or director of The Strangers. This is a home invasion movie. It has our favorite Jonathan Shaishi. Jonathan Shaishi is in it, along with Stephen Dorff.
Oh gosh, Stephen Dorff.
And a couple of other players. But basically, it involves this guy who is currently in a cult, and he gets kidnapped and taken to this cabin, where he finds out that it was his family who kidnapped him. They're trying to do
intervention?
a very hardcore intervention. They hire Stephen Dorff to kind of enforce all of this sort of tactic to get him out of the game. But shortly after, his cult actually comes to rescue him. So it's a battle of, who can outkill the other in a very, very gross, sadistic, suspenseful way.
Gross.
So this just came out in theaters. I think it is a limited release. I actually ended up seeing this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw this right when it came out. I went to Chinese theater, and the movie was actually pretty creepy. It was straight to the point. Everything happened right away. The frights weren't there as much. There were some creepy elements, but it was more, to me, of a drama. It was a little bit sad because you got to see this family sort of break apart, just desperately getting their sibling to, get out of the cult. And it touches on sort of like, who is your real family? Is it based on blood, or is it based on the people that you relate to, who are there for you? It just goes into all these different dimensions. But again, it does involve, people who are in masks, who obviously are pretty scary and creepy and everything. And this family, even though they know they have no idea what they're doing. They're way over their head, but that's not going to stop them. And it just dives in deep into the whole family dynamic. And I found it a very bit unsettling to watch. But there was a couple of laugh moments, and it's due to partially the acting a little bit. But I liked it. It was a nice little thriller.
Okay.
Yeah. Funny thing, it almost felt kind of cultish even in that theater, because it turns out that the writer was actually in the theater with his huge entourage of fans seeing this movie.
It's weird.
Yeah, it was the very first showing of the of the movie, because it just released and they only had evening showings. And like, I noticed that no one got up, and everybody was cheering so loud in the beginning of the movie, at the end of the movie, to specific names. So then I looked around and I noticed that the writer of the movie was like one seat in front of me, and I was just like, okay, but nobody would get up, and nobody was talking. Like, it was super silent, and I was like, what is going on? There were other people who just kind of saw the movie just to see it, but I heard one of them was like, I think it might be like disrespectful to just be the first and only person to get up and leave, and it's just like, I don't know what everybody's waiting on.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it just felt a little awkward, but at the same time, it was, you know, his fans were there, and it was nice to give him praise, and he felt very proud of what he did. So
Cool.
So I saw that, and then there's also a horror comedy that came out also on the first, called Little Evil. It's not a spoof, but it's basically a comedy version of The Omen.
That's
Looks
what it
pretty
looks
good.
like.
Yeah, has Adam Scott and Evangeline Lilly.
I like Adam Scott.
Yeah, and other sort of pioneer comedians out there, sort of doing a supportive role. So we'll watch that and maybe come back to it if we end up watching it throughout the month. And some other movies that are coming out this weekend, of course, is Stephen King's It. Can't wait for this. I definitely plan on seeing it this weekend.
Have you seen? So I saw a picture of a ad campaign in Australia.
Okay.
People are attaching red balloons to like the sewer
Really?
grates, and then they like spray paint. It says it's coming sooner than you think. Or
Oh,
something,
man.
Or it's like, it's closer than you think. I was like, oh, that's really creative.
That is kind of creative. You know how I always end up picking up some of these like certain spots and locations where any Final Destination death can come out, and just like, yeah, I'm starting to notice these sewer grates now. The ones that are like super
Oh,
big
yeah.
that you can look in. I'm just like, oh God, I look at them now and I just avoid them.
Yeah.
Just don't even want to be near them. But yeah, this weekend is Stephen King's It. I'm very excited for that. The following week after that is Darren Aronofsky's Mother.
Yeah, that looks good. I really loved Black Swan.
Yes.
So I think that Darren Aronofsky is a great director, and it looks like a bunch of great actors getting together to just, chop it up.
How much of the trailer did you watch?
Oh, I watched the whole trailer.
Okay.
I had no choice.
Okay. I know, right?
It was, I think, Annabelle.
Yeah, it was Annabelle that we saw it on.
But, it doesn't really reveal anything. I have no idea what's going on in that movie, but it still looks interesting. It looks creepy, so that's all I need, and I won't watch the trailer again.
Based on what I saw, I'm just going to make a very, I don't think this movie will be that easy to figure out, but I'm calling it. I think that Javier's Satan, and everyone is going to their house, like their house is like the gates of hell, basically.
Well, jeez, Rob, I hope I forget that you said that, because now I'm going to be like looking at it like, he's Satan. Everything he does is Satanish.
But again, it just seems a little bit too easy, but I just have a feeling everybody's just going to that house to just go through hell. That's just basically what I'm thinking. But anyways, we'll see. Trailer was very cryptic, and that's how I like my trailers. Don't give away nothing. I mean, the title of the movie alone is like throwing me, and I hate the fact that it's just called I was like, what is Mother?
It reminds me, every time I see it, I'm like, what? That movie's old. And then I think of Mama.
Yes.
I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not it. What else? What else we got?
All right. So, so I watched this trailer called The Hatred.
Oh, yeah.
And this looks super creepy. I will recommend that you guys go up and look this up. It actually looks pretty good. It's supposed to come out on DVD on the 12th. Don't quote me on that, because there are other sources that say it's an October release, but from this latest information, I got September 12th on DVD. This is something that I'll probably look forward to watching, so I'm going to check that out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't seen the trailer.
But that is an indication that it looks good.
It's really good. It was
Because you
really
didn't want
good.
to see it.
Even
Exactly.
before a slightly big reveal, I was like, this looks good.
Yeah.
It's really great production value. The acting was good. So it looked really good. I just would have preferred to not see
Less
that.
is more.
Less
Yeah.
is more.
Less is
Less
more.
is more, yes. But it was definitely a chilling trailer.
So also, I'm looking forward to Leatherface, which I believe comes out on the 21st.
Meh.
You're just kind of over it.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm over
They
it.
just
I
keep
really
going.
liked
Origin,
the
origin,
prequel.
origin.
I really loved that one with Jordana Brewster.
Yeah.
I don't need any more.
Just not this one. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I already got like some of his origin in there, and it's like I see his family. Apparently, he's like the least crazy of his family, and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't need any more. So that's my opinion. But all of you guys go and enjoy the movie. I'm sure you will.
Yes.
Rob will be there.
Yes, I will be there. And then the sequel to The Houses, October Belt.
I haven't seen the original.
I would watch it. It is found footage.
Yeah.
But it's
looks
not. It's not
creepy.
as shaky as you would think, because again, they have a reason for wearing all the eye gear and everything to have a camera, so it's a little more smooth than what you would expect. I thought it was a creepy one, and this sequel, the plot, I don't buy it. It's just again, if they just need a reason to do this movie again with more scares, fine. But what they came up with was kind of whatever. But the trailer still made it look pretty creepy, and I'm curious. So that should be on video on demand, and I think limited theater release, also on the 22nd. So we'll see. And then to end the month is Flatliners. I haven't seen the original. I'm wondering if I should watch the original before.
So I watched the trailer. It really looks nothing like the original.
Yeah?
It looks like it's I don't know if you told me this is supposed to be a sequel or a remake.
Not me.
I don't know,
No, I don't know a thing.
So whatever the variation may be, it doesn't look like it's going to be a remake of the original so much. Yes, they flatline and they go to the other side, and it's this big competition of who can go under longer, and then things start to get creepy. But in the first film, it really wasn't. I don't know. It was like a latent thriller. It wasn't. I mean, it was creepy and it was interesting, but it had more of a drama tone
Okay.
to it.
Well,
The
that's
things
how I
that
always
they went through.
classified it. I never looked at that movie as a horror movie. Just, even by the cover art, I just
No, the
thought it
cover
was
art, I
just some-
thought, oh, there's something sort of sinister going on, but it's not like they flatline and then they bring something back with them, as in like a demonic presence in the
Okay.
original.
Yeah.
But with this one, it looks like they've kind of gone a different route to where they actually bring an entity back with them.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe not.
Are you curious about it? I kind of want to see. I mean, if I don't watch it, it's not a big deal. It's not one of my must see, but it is something that has me kind of curious what's going on.
I mean, maybe I'll see it when it's out on video, but
Yeah.
I just don't feel a strong desire to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. Okay. One last thing to just kind of close up the whole Netflix thing is I did want to bring up Death Note. That was also released on the 1st, and I did
On the 25th.
Oh, it was.
It was released on August 25th.
Oh, that's right. I thought it was the 1st. Anyways, well, I did give it a look through, and I'm gonna sound a little biased and say that it wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be, but not for I guess for the obvious reasons. I would have loved to have seen the original culture, and with the place, the setting and the characters. I didn't get that. Move on. I went ahead and watched it, accepted for what it was. I wanted to see what these guys were going to do with it, and I didn't mind. I didn't watch this movie to get the exact same script, the exact same outcome, the exact same plot lines or whatever. All I wanted was, if you're going to change stuff and use the name Death Note, to incorporate what Death Note is. And this is, again, my own opinion. Death Note, to me, is the cat and mouse who outsmarts who between Light and L. Yes, the deaths and everything is predominant. That's something that stands out. But to me, that is not why I watch it. I watch it to see how they are going to outsmart each other and who is going to win at the end of the day. I love the fact that both these characters are so smart for their own good that they just continue to go back and forth one step ahead of one another. And it's just the journey of like just getting away with it and him just trying to keep up and figure out this thing. I mean, in this world, we don't know of magics and gods and things like that, and he has to figure out who a serial killer is who is killing in all these multiple locations. What I got from this US remake is a love story, a teen angsty love story.
Emo.
Very emo. And they completely wiped any sort of character that the original had. Elle's mannerisms with Lakeith were good. He was a very good choice. I thought his acting was brilliant, and I thought that his mannerisms and things that made Elle was there. However, towards Act 3, when everything was kind of coming to a close, they completely just wiped out who Elle was. And I didn't like it whatsoever. It just turned to this chase scene. It got super emotional, and Elle is very calm and collected. He's smart. He knows when to give people what they want and not to draw them out and have them make mistakes. It was just really easy to get to Elle, and that made me mad. Also, Light was not as smart as he was supposed to be. He was this loner who like cared what people thought, and he wasn't supposed to. He shouldn't give a shit about anyone or anything. And the relationship between Light and Mia in this movie just was a waste. It was such a waste. And that to me was their biggest mistake, is that they changed the core element of what makes these characters who they are. Elle and Light maybe had 2 scenes together throughout the entire film. And that is not what Death Note is, those two. It's not about the deaths. In my opinion, the deaths is just a treat, but it's not about that. And that's what I hate about it. So I'm sure other people have found many reasons not to like this movie, and a lot of people may say it's because it's nothing like the original. I don't care that it's not like the original. I just wanted that particular element to be there, and it wasn't. So that was Death Note.
Haven't watched it. Not going to. But I did start watching the original series again, and it's delightful.
It's still good, right?
Yeah, it's still good.
Yeah,
It's great.
I think I might rewatch it too, just to kind of,
It's on Netflix. Check it out.
Check it out. All right. Let's talk nominations.
So why don't we just, get this Dirty Birdie DVD barrel out the way first,
Okay.
and I will let you go first. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I'm going first.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
So if you guys follow us on social media, we did post the movies that we've chosen to go in our DVD barrel. And these are movies that we pretty much didn't like that much, and they're probably worth the $2 tag that they will get. The choice that I brought up was See No Evil. This was, I believe, WWE's production's very first theatrical release.
I think so.
And from the looks of it, it looks like a huge gore fest. You've just got this guy who obviously have more strength than he handles, and there's some religious sort of attachment to it, and a whole bunch of kids who are in jail or juvie are sentenced to go and clean up this abandoned hotel to reduce some of their sentence. And while they're in there, they just get killed one by one. I chose this movie because it just wasn't good. It was boring. I mean, the kills were very over the top. They were gross. But at the end of the day, you don't care about anyone. They didn't really give you a reason to care about anyone. The backstory involving the killer and just his reasons why he's as crazy as he is just isn't worth the story. I think they tried to also give us a twist as to who was involved, and that wasn't really that big of a deal. The movie is just gross for the sake of being gross. There's no substance to it. I just didn't like it. They really had this guy being tortured by his mother, and for some reason that gave him superhuman strength and able to take like a pipe in his head and a gunshot wound and not die. I don't know exactly where all this came from, so they don't even answer if this is anything that has to do with supernatural. They just it just didn't make sense. And I'm okay with gory films and people dying in very outlandish ways, but this one just wasn't good. And the people who actually ended up living were horrible people. So not even good people got to live. I just didn't like this movie at all. And I think you did. Yes, you did watch it. So
Yeah.
What did you think of this movie?
Well, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would.
Okay.
And this is based off of what you have told me. You hate it, you hate it, you hate it. So, again, expectations are lowered. I don't know. It was all right. Was it a good film? No. Was it predictable? Yes. I wouldn't say that all the people who survived were horrible people. The two women who survived, they were cool. But the guy, I don't know why he lived. I don't know why he lived. He was a dirtbag.
Yeah.
But they were all kind of terrible. They were all terrible. So, yeah, there was no twist. I don't know why he was so strong. His death scene was pretty satisfying, actually. That was probably like the most work within the film.
Okay.
There were a lot of actors in this movie, actually. Well, not a lot, but there were a few. Like, what's her name? Rachel. Can't think of her name, but she was on 666 Park Avenue.
Oh, was she on that
Yeah,
show?
she was.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure they filmed the movie in Australia because a lot of the actors were Australian, covering up their Australian accents.
I only remember Christine Vidal.
Yeah, Christina Vidal. She was cool. I liked her. I don't think this movie did anything for her career.
No.
But yeah, she was cool. She was probably the only interesting character. So yeah, I didn't hate it.
So you liked it a little bit more.
I did. I'm not going to watch it again. I will say that my film I nominated was They Look Like People, which was a movie that is rated extremely well on Rotten Tomatoes. It has like an 89% or something. And it had a lot of really good buzz. I think I think it was a student thesis film, or it came from like New York University. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it went to a lot of film festivals and people thought it was amazing. It was just kind of boring. I was bored. So the premise is this young man, he thinks that the world is turning into demons. Like, people around him are starting to change into these monsters, but they still look like us. And he's trying to save his friend, but also he can't trust anyone. And he has this voice, or it's not very clear what's happening to him. He's having a mental breakdown, or are people turning into demons? I think that that's an interesting idea, but I don't think they really did anything with it. And I was just really bored for an hour and 40 minutes. The ending, I was like, oh my gosh, something's about to happen, and it didn't. It was more of a psychological film, but there really wasn't anything interesting about the psychological aspect, so I was just bored. So watching See No Evil, I watched them both in the same day too, so I was like, well, this was more entertaining at least.
Okay, so you were more entertained by See No Evil. Okay.
But I will just say this. I feel that you have a strong hatred for See No Evil, and I don't have strong opinions about either one. So the Deadly DVD Barrel this month goes to See No Evil.
You're just going to pass it on to me, huh?
I am.
Okay.
I think that you hate it. Well, and I should have asked you your opinion about They Look Like People, but I just, in comparison, the other one is like a big budget thing, and this one, it's still rated highly among people. I don't know why. It was just kind of a snooze fest. But I think that you have talked about how much you hate this movie, so
Well, I mean, yeah, I did talk about that. I just want to make sure. Well, I mean, we don't have to be like on an agreement of this, but I mean, yeah, you're just like, eh. I mean, you can understand why the movie isn't that good, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just It's not really.
It was just more entertaining than
okay.
They look like people.
So okay, well, cool. See No Evil. We will never bring that up again. I don't know.
I'm never gonna talk about it again.
Yeah.
I have no reason to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just for the sake of just nominations and just in general, I just had to bring that up because it was just one of those movies that I watched and I just got no thrill out of it walking out. And you would think that that would be like the type of movie that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But I will say this, because I watched See No Evil and they look like people in the same day. And this has always been on my queue, so I'm actually really glad that you chose this because I've always wanted to check it out. It's just like I look at some of the clip art that they use when they're describing the movie, and it just doesn't look like nothing's happening or just in the thing. But here's the thing. I actually loved it. I actually really thought it was good.
Cute.
I really thought it was good. So here's what I like about this movie. I get such a huge hard on when it comes to like friendships.
Oh, the bromance was nice.
The bromance was so top notch. I don't know why, but that gets to me every time.
There was still a lot of really awkward dialogue moments between all of the characters.
Yes,
and it just
that is true.
It took me out of the experience because I noticed like this is weird. Why did they write that?
I think what also made it good for their bromance too is that we had no idea what it was that made them such buddies. I mean, just them playing those idiotic drunk games that they were doing. That's something for them.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was like, this is their own joke, and they just seem so in sync with each other. I just thought that was cool. The very first image is him laying next to his fiance,
and that was creepy.
You could not like. I was like, oh my god, what is? And I was just waiting for stuff to happen. I think having no music during that as well, just utter silence in a dark room, is pretty creepy. It did take a while for stuff to happen. And if you do have the expectation for things to happen, yes, there was a lot of subliminal things going on in that movie. It was not as entertaining, I guess you could say, between both movies. But I think how everything wrapped up, you still were given this sort of idea of, is he crazy? Or is the world going to start turning people into demons? And just the fact that this friend decided to not treat him as a mental patient and give him the benefit of the doubt, be there for him, trust him with his life. Like, I don't know if I could do that, but just watching it play out, like, I was really scared for him. I was like, is this going to be your demise? Is this a mistake? And I think it also took a lot of willpower for his friend not to go through with it, because he could have just taken him out. He was hearing everything, he was seeing the things that he needed to see, but whether he was crazy or not, I think everything just needed to just be played out. What happened is that at 6 o'clock, that's when people were going to start changing, and he was the only one who could see them change. And so obviously if it was going to happen, it was going to happen at 6, and if he had passed that threshold, then he wasn't going to be one of those demons. And I think the way that it ended, it didn't make any sort of closing sort of statements if the world, and I actually like that aspect that it left it open. I don't know, I just really enjoyed this movie. I just thought it was good.
I'm glad, Rob. I'm glad that one of us enjoyed it.
Well, see,
so that's why See No Evil gets the win this time.
Yeah.
Well, the win? I don't know what it gets.
The laws. But yeah, I was wondering, I was like, I wonder how our conversation is going to play out, because I actually ended up liking this movie, and if you had a strong feeling about your pick, I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
No.
Okay.
It was just boring.
All right, so See No Evil, Deadly DVD Barrel. All right, so we'll move on to the Hall of Fears. This is a good one. This is a good one. Okay, why don't you reveal which one of the two movies you picked? Like it isn't obvious.
Get into my zen. So this month I chose Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight, which is the only good Tales from the Crypt movie. They actually had 3, and the other 2 are garbage.
What was the 3?
I have
Third
it over
one.
there. You looked at it. It's the Ritual movie. It's like it has Tales from the Crypt on it, but it's not. This is after like the show is over and
It didn't
everything's
go to
done.
theaters.
No, it did
Okay.
not. No. It has Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing.
What? How did I not know this?
You can watch it. It's the most realistic representation of voodoo
Okay.
on film. But
Even surpassing Serpent of the Rainbow.
well, that guy tore his whole freaking head off.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It just doesn't make sense. So I chose Demon Knight, and this was pre-Scream, but it was such a scary movie. This was such a hard movie for me to watch as a kid. But I freaking watched it sitting in my little chair by myself in the basement. I mean, with my family, but still, it's like I'm in this damn chair by myself. Something's going to come up behind me. Demon Knight. It's for me, it's like a timeless movie. It does sort of take place in a certain time period, but it looks like it could be at any time. There's really nothing about cell phones or anything. It's out in the middle of nowhere, like out in the desert somewhere in Nevada, I think. It doesn't matter what time you watch it, and it's not restricted to a time period. And the cast is excellent. Billy Zane's very funny, but he's creepy, but he's still funny. And the demons, that is what sold this movie for me. I don't know why I watch demon films, because they scare me. And maybe that's why, they look like people didn't have an effect on me, because I'm like, there's no demons in this movie. The demon performers, the stilt performers in this makeup, they are so good. And of course, I mean, shout out to the effects artists and to the makeup artist. The designs, it's so hideous and so frightening. Even as an adult, I mean, they still make me very uncomfortable. But Jada Pinkett is in this movie. We have talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again. It's her birthday this month, so happy birthday,
Happy
Jada.
birthday.
I have a little birthday card for you later. And this was our first example of a final girl who happens to be black. It's really like she just happens to be black. But she's so good in this movie. And you don't really know how it's going to go, because it's an ensemble cast. Everyone has such good representation. So when it comes down to her, it's like, we didn't necessarily know until it was like, there's only 3 people left. I mean, it's not the stupid kid.
Yeah.
But I just love this movie. The whole story concept with the keys and the blood, and it's just such a great movie. I can watch it again and again. This is a movie that I can watch over and over again.
I have this like huge grin on my face as he's talking about it. It is such a wonderful movie. It's fun, and even though it is in the horror category, it is something that can be watched over and over again and still have just that fun factor that doesn't make it boring or
Yeah. And it has
after a
the
while.
fun crypt keeper element. So it's like, he introduces the story, and then at the end, he bookmarks it. So it's like it's Tales from the Crypt. It is.
You are watching
Yes.
an episode on screen.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
It's like they took the TV show and they took it to the next level, and it worked. Sadly, it didn't work for the ones after that. So this one, it can stand on its own 2 feet. It's not like you have to watch the show to watch the movie and enjoy it, but you still get that fun vibe.
So, do you have like a big scary moment from it?
The scariest moment for me is probably, it's like, it's coming. So there's 2 moments. I'll say this one because when I was a little kid, I couldn't watch it. So it's when they go down into the basement and they're going into the tunnels, and Jada Pinkett separates from the pack because she hears a noise or something, and I'm like, God, she's gonna die. And then I just looked away. I could not watch because like, I know she's gonna die. And I'm just listening to the movie, and then I hear like the demons come out, and I'm like, I don't even want to watch it. So miraculously, she survived. But I remember not being able to watch that part. I had to turn away. Now I've watched it. I mean, it's not that scary. But the scariest part for me is when, what's his name? He played the Sandman in the third really bad Spider movie.
Oh,
Spider-Man
you're talking about Hayden Church.
Yes, Hayden Church. Such a dick in this movie. He's so good.
Total dick.
And when you think he's getting away, and like it's like he walks down, and Billy Zane's like, "Oh, by the way, I lied," and then the demons just pounce on him, and blood is everywhere.
Yeah,
that part scares me because they're so scary.
Yeah,
the demons are so scary, and then when they just like lunge on him, it's like, what are they? I don't know. It's scary. I
like how these demons are being like created from the ground.
Yeah,
and then when they come up, they have like scrunchies in their hair and like nipple rings. And
Hey,
I mean, they're looking very rocker. I don't know how that came out of the ground, but you know, they were dressed to kill, is from what I noticed.
They were.
So yeah, I chose Sixth Sense, and this movie is a complete opposite of Demon Knight. So it's like, how do you pick one of these to go under, you know, the Hall of Fears? I chose this movie because being a horror movie doesn't necessarily have to do with a bunch of jump scares, but this movie has tons of horror elements in it. You know, it deals with ghosts, it deals with death, it has a lot of subliminal messaging. There was some thought put into it. It has like a super big twist, and it also just gives you an example of the different types of horror that's out there. M. Night, I will, you know, go on record, he is one of my favorite directors. For the most part, I'm not saying that his whole entire filmography is like top notch, but I always appreciate him for his great unique storytelling and ideas that he comes up with. And Sixth Sense just, I wouldn't say it changed horror, but it gave me another reason to like horror even more. And if it's not just for, you know, the monster element or people just dying all the time in really, you know, different ways, it was their smart horror. And I really appreciated the storytelling. I will say this, I was completely fooled. I had no freaking clue of the twists in this movie. And, you know, you watch it now again, and every single clue is there for you. I mean, if you even listen to some of the behind the scenes of people talking about it or the commentary, it's insane how many clues are given in this movie. But at the time, I was so into it that I just let the movie play out, and the way that they revealed it was so genius. I just really like this movie. But in addition to all of that good stuff, the movie still was creepy. There were a couple of scenes that were actually genuinely scary, and they weren't even that like horrific. You know, they would have a ghost here or there have a little subtlety look as to how they died. But it was just the execution that I thought was very impressive, that I was very impressed by. And that's why I think this should go in the Hall of Fears, because it's a different type of horror. And, you know, this movie will be talked about forever. It's a movie that has one of its best lines, and it's got Oscar nominations throughout the film as well. And it will go down as one of the biggest twists to me in known history, so that's why I picked it. What'd you think of Sixth Sense?
I enjoyed Sixth Sense the first time I saw it, and it is a great film, and I think it was it is the thing that put M. Night Shyamalan on the map. It is the film that sort of defines his career, because after that, everyone expected there to be a big twist and for it to be a horror thriller thing. And then it's not always the case. So then people were disappointed.
But he did start this sort of craze.
But he did start this. It's like there's always going to be a twist at the end. And I think that did hinder him somewhat because people had these expectations of him. So did the film hurt him? No. I mean, it is probably his most successful film. So I loved it. I think it's a great film, but can I watch it again and again? No. I know the twist now. I've watched it enough to where I see all the clues and, the red doorknob, and it's like, it's very interesting, but it's not something that I will go back to again and again.
Yeah.
It was creepy. I saw it in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's jump scares, but no, it's not for me. In comparing these two, no, it's not something that I enjoy over and over again. And freaking love Toni Collette. She's great as the mother.
She was a New Yorker through and through.
She's
just
so
with
good.
her dragging of the house shoes to the acrylic nails. I mean, she laid it down.
And she's like,
yes.
the Clint. Yeah.
But no, I just like Haley Joel Osment, Bruce Willis. Like those two worked great together. Just him being the child's doctor that he was. I just thought his approach towards children was great. Okay, so I'll give you one of the scares. Watching it again, I actually did jump, even though I know the movie. There was one part that I did not know. It was the first appearance of a ghost. Because for the first hour, you actually don't see any. I mean, with the, obviously removing Bruce Willis, but you don't see any ghosts. It's only when he finally reveals the secret to him is when we get to see what Haley Joel Osment sees. Cole Sear. And the first appearance, he gets up in the middle of the night and he has to go to the bathroom and he's super scared to walk down the hall. And he gets to the bathroom and he's, peeing. And then we see the back of him, and then all of a sudden, you just see this robe walk past. And of course, it's combined with, music or whatever, so you just see this image walk past him, and you're, freaked out. That made me jump quite a bit. And then it turned out it was this wife who was getting beat on by her husband or whatever, and she would get all cut up. Because there was a scene in before where the mom turns around, and Toni Collette, and she turns around and sees all the drawers and cabinet doors all open. And, Cole's just sitting there and he's like, I didn't do it, And he gets up and there's this handprint in the table because he's so freaking scared. But we get to see exactly who it was that was doing that. That was a really good, scary moment. And then the little boy where he's like, come here, let me show you where my dad hides his gun. And then he turns around and that big giant gunshot is in his head. That was creepy. I was reminded why I actually chose this movie as well. It's funny that people give M. Night a lot of flack for not being super scary or giving this illusion through his trailers that you're trying to give us a horror movie and it really wasn't scary. Watching Sixth Sense again, it's a huge mystery. It's a psychological drama, in my opinion. Yes, it does go in the horror category because there are ghosts in it and there are ghosts being creepy on there. But from day one, I thought that he was more of a storyteller than a horror director. I don't know where this idea came about that he is supposed to scare us every time we go see one of his movies. And again, it's another conversation. I'll stick to Sixth Sense for now. But there was a scene towards the end of the movie, and this again is why I just love this movie so much. It was when Cole tells his mom about his secret and that he's been talking to her dead mother, who she misses dearly throughout the whole film. And that interaction is probably the reason why Haley Joel Osment got nominated for an Oscar in the first place. He's sitting there telling, her what's going on, and he gives her proof as to, I have this gift. I'm sitting there listening to this, and I immediately go back to when I came out to my first family member. I was in a car just like him, and she turns to me and asks me, are you gay? And I didn't lie to her, and I told her, yes, I am. And then we had this car ride where I was just telling her, that I'm gay and when all this stuff. And we just had a really good conversation. The first thing he says to her in the car is, I'm ready to communicate with you now. And then she turns to him, because the whole movie, she's just like, what's wrong? Tell me what's going on in your head. It just to me just fit that whole dynamic of just revealing your true self to somebody really close to you and hoping that they will not freak out. Because immediately after he says this to her, she looks at him, and the whole movie he's like, I don't like people looking at me like I'm a freak. And he goes, Mama, do you think I'm a freak? And she's like, look at my face. I will never ever think. And I was just like, this just is like coming out to anyone that you love and hope that they will love you back, you know? And I just thought that was a really touching scene. It was really good. But again, it does have some scary elements in there. And just overall, it is, you know, one of my favorites. Comparing to Demon Knight, it is not a movie that gets its, you know, true feeling after watching it more than once. And I've always said, as an entertainment perspective, this needs to be a movie that you can watch more than once and still get the same feeling. Knowing the biggest twist and not getting that same feeling back into it is sort of a downfall. It is a huge compliment saying that you came out with something amazing that it's hard to repeat again, but it is something that doesn't get that same thrill as you got from the first time around. If we were going to base it on that aspect, I would give this Hall of Fear to Demon Knight, only because it is rewatchable, it is fun, it does have a lot of different elements that a good movie needs in addition to being scary and horrific, you know. I praise Sixth Sense, you know, and it will be one of my favorites, but between the two choices, I'm inclined to give this to you because of the repeat factor.
Thank you. I like Sixth Sense. I really do.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, and it was such a big surprise. It's faded, you know. I mean, Haley Joel Osment is a full-grown adult now. People have seen this movie. I think of the movie 50 First Dates. Mm-hmm. And then she makes her brother and father watch the movie every night because they try to, like, you know, just go along with
Yes.
that was the last thing she remembers. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And they're like, yeah, we know.
Can you, oh God, I would love to like just erase my memory of some of these movies and just relive them
Or
again.
trailers. Just like write a note to myself. You wanted to watch this movie. It's really good. You just
Yeah.
don't remember the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that being said, yes, I think that we made a good decision.
No, Demon Knight is actually one of my favorite movies. We talked about this episode 2. You just beat me to it by saying it before me. But, I mean, Demon Knight is a really good movie. And watching the two of them again, I had a lot of fun watching it. And I don't know how many years it's been out. I still had a lot of fun watching it. So,
Yeah.
Sixth Sense is just a wonderful movie. Always be one of my favorites. But, yeah, Demon Knight gets the Hall of Fear. So...
Woo!
Whoa. Some of the, before we move on, I do want to give some confessions. There was a little bit of opinion that went along with our choices. So Chris from Facebook, he says, I'm sure that most people will pick The Sixth Sense because of how iconic it is, and it is an excellent movie. But his personal choice is Demon Knight. He just feels like Demon Knight is everything that he loves about horror movies, and it stays true to itself. The Tales from the Crypt TV series. And yeah, I mean, I
agree.
I'm definitely inclined to agree.
That's a really good summation of both films. I mean, I agree.
Okay, so yeah, one thing that I also wanted to say, so Monty from Facebook, he actually gives praise to Sixth Sense. He says, definitely Sixth Sense, as far as an overall films go, that was a debut like none other by M. Night Shyamalan. But if you're looking for a Midnight Madness sort of movie, you can do a lot worse than Demon Knight, is what he says. So, yeah, I thought that was cool. Thank you guys for those comments. All right, so for this week's Bitch Really, I wanted to bring up sort of towards the end of the movie, you would think that with horror movies, usually it ends up with, oh, I know where it comes from, I know what's going on, let's go out and defeat it, yada yada. This particular movie did not have such luck, and it just ended up being the bitch really of the week. And it comes from It Follows. It's the group of kids who obviously are being followed by this, demon that has attacked people who are having sex. And all of a sudden, one of the characters has this epiphany that he thinks he knows how he can destroy it. And so they go to their school has a pool, and they gather up every single electronic device they can think of, and they're going to lure this entity into the pool and then electrocute it. Well, things did not go very well as they got into the pool, and the entity came in. Again, only she can see it. Nobody else can, so it's all up to her to be like, it's coming, it's coming. And they start throwing things at it, and it didn't work. I don't know if they were able to even throw like actual things in because they didn't want to electrocute her. But all of a sudden, the entity starts picking stuff up and throwing them at the girl. And a couple of times it actually hits her. So clearly this plan did not work. All of a sudden, they're all scatterbrained. They have no idea what they're doing. One of the girls gets shot trying to shoot this invisible entity. And eventually the thing gets shot, but it doesn't kill it. And it was just a half-wit idea. These group of kids seriously endangered themselves. They could have all gotten hurt. Nobody was there to even know that they were there. They really kind of fucked up on this one. And I think a lot of people watched this and assumed, like, okay, we all know what we have to do, and this is going to stop it. Nope. Sometimes kids make stupid-ass decisions and get themselves hurt. And so, bitch, really, unless you know exactly what it is to take down something you can't see, don't endanger the lives of everybody else with your crack brain ideas. This was a dumb idea, and it didn't work. And sorry, not sorry, you're a little bitch.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up this week's episode. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media. And we can't wait to hear back from Lestat.
Yeah.
And hear what he has for us either next week or in the next couple of weeks. And yeah. Guess we'll catch you next time on Bitch I Ain't Scared.